down to Joe Root was fantastic. What a lovely shot to do it with as well.
I suppose they'll try and push on, get to, I don't know, what, 700?
Sam, I maybe been a bit optimistic there. Can you see? I mean, who knows if the pitch deteriorates? You were asking John that yesterday. Anyway, let's celebrate the achievements of Joe Root with the former England batsman Mark Butcher. Good afternoon, Butch.
Hello, Butch.
G'day, fellas. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Yes, not too bad, thank you. So, yeah, congratulations to Joe. What, as a fine batsman yourself, what is it that sets him apart?
Oh, blimey, where do you start? I mean, first and foremost, he's a wonderful technical player, in very much out of the old school. You know, beautiful straight bat, picks length really quickly, moves well forward and back. You know, has a wonderfully still head when he's sort of making his move to go and present himself to the ball. So those are all of the sort of those basic things. He's also as a player somebody that never you'll never hear Joe Root say that's the way I play as an excuse for any sort of failure. He's always looking for ways to improve, always looking for things that he can do better, always looking for an extra edge. To facilitate his unbelievable appetite for being out there in the middle and scoring runs. And I think if there's anything that separates him, because all those other things lots of other players have, but having that desire day after day after day to go out there, to be out there in the middle, to score huge runs in burning hot conditions, seaming conditions, spinning, it doesn't matter where he is in the world. He just has this absolute drive within him. That makes him go out and bring his best every single time he takes guard, and that I think is the thing that separates him from the rest, from the very, very good and from the great. He's gone beyond that now. He's up there with the likes of Dravid and Tendulkar and Kallis and people like that, and quite rightly so. It's been a phenomenal last 18 months or so, or 2 years. I think he's made something like 17 Test match hundreds in that period of time, and just appears to be getting better and better.
There was always a buzz about him, wasn't there, Butch? I remember even our old friend, the late great David English at the Bunbury Festival, coming back from one of them coming on this show, said, "Look out for this name, Joe Root. This boy, it's amazing. He's a sort of an old head on young shoulders. Got an amazing temperament. Even as a young kid, he was sort of earmarked for the top."
Yeah, absolutely. I remember Graham Thorpe, the late Graham Thorpe, saying to me years and years ago. He's got this 16-year-old kid. He was sort of involved in doing stuff with the sort of like the pathways for England, 20 years ago, and saying that there's this kid Joe Root who's going to be something very special, and he was 100% right. And one of the things that you never know with young players when they show this sort of talent is whether or not they have that sort of inner dog in them, that makes them want to go out there and be out there in the fight day after day, that makes them want to kind of go out there and have the mental capacity just to keep churning out runs. And he doesn't churn them out. It's not like Alistair Cook was somebody that churned out runs, and he was one of England's great players. But Joe Root does it in a beautiful style. He's very, very lovely to watch, very easy on the eye. Everything seems to be in the right place. The balance is perfect. But not only that, he has that sort of inner drive, that inner nastiness to sort of go out there and deliver day after day after day and repel all comers.
Yeah, and what's he like off the pitch, Butch? What's his personality when he's not across the white line? He never seems to have been any sort of controversy, or you never really read about him on the front pages. It always seems to be sport. For one of England's greatest ever sports people, you know little about him.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a lovely, unassuming fella. Really, really polite. Sort of a student of the games. Obviously, he lives and breathes it. I mean, he wouldn't be able to do what he does if that wasn't the case. But as a human, he's a fantastic guy. Great, the guys that are very loyal to him, people like Ben Stokes and people who have been close to him for years. Say he's the best friend a guy could have is always, for somebody that does something which is so singular, i.e. being out there batting, you are responsible for that. Your runs are your runs as much as cricket's a team game. For somebody that has that sort of inner drive and inner selfishness to be able to go out there and perform at that sort of level, there is no sign of that selfishness or that sort of me type of character off the field. He's just a terrific bloke by all counts. I hate him.
He was our frontline spinner last summer.
Yes, he was. Yeah, we shouldn't forget that.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully that isn't the case because, you know, again, in terms of what it takes out of you mentally and physically to bat all day in the burning heat in a place like Multan. I was very scathing of the idea that Joe Root would be, you know, somebody that England were going to be looking about 30, 40 overs on tours of India and Pakistan when you need the guy to be out there batting for you for a day and a half. And you don't need that extra burden. And thankfully, England have got two proper spin bowlers in the side, so he doesn't have to do that much work. But of course, he is very handy at prying out the odd wicket or two as well.
He seems to love his cricket, but he is a family man. He has a young family, and he may not fancy another 4 or 5 years sort of toiling around the country and the world playing cricket because, you know, Tendulkar's record he's 3,500 shy of that, but it's gettable. But
you might get him on this pitch.
Yeah,
that's true.
Could
get him this week. Well, and they play there again. The next test is there as well. Look, it's down at 3. It's just over 3,000 now.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
And again, I look and you can never say with any certainty these things in terms of sport because of injury and because of, you know, all kinds of things can happen that are unforeseeable in the future. But should he stay healthy? And should the desire still be there, then there's absolutely no reason why he wouldn't. You know, he's still relatively young, and the sort of, you know, that will and that want to go out there and be the best just does not seem to be diminishing at all in him. So it's definitely on the cards. I mean, what a thing that would be. Obviously, you know, Sachin's record is Sachin himself is just one of the gods of the game, and is a god in India. I don't think Joe Root will ever have that sort of that profile in England, sadly. A probably good thing for him too. I mean, you know, the demands on somebody like Sachin Tendulkar in India are just extreme. He can't leave the house prior to 3 o'clock in the morning without being hounded. So Joe is very lucky in that regard that he kind of goes a little bit under the radar and could possibly walk down Oxford Street and not have too many people recognise him. But you know, he does. That record is very much in his sights, and you just hope that all being well, he stays healthy and no injury befalls him that keeps him out of the game. And if he plays for the next 3 years, I reckon he'll do it. Alistair Cook thinks he can do it, you know, and there are no signs whatsoever of him slowing down in terms of his will to get better and his will to score runs for England.
And just finally, can you see this pitch doing enough in the next 2 days to get a result from it?
No, I don't. I can't see the pitch changing a massive amount. It might get a little bit lower and a little bit slower. But what I can see happening is that if England find themselves, you know, say 150 to 200 runs in front, which is not beyond the realms of possibility. Pakistan have lost, you know, 5 Test matches on the bounce. They are, you know, they are a little bit on the brittle side when put under pressure, as they were against Bangladesh just very recently at home. And England could find a way somehow of being able to force a result simply by, you know, causing some panic. You know, Pakistan have been out there in the field for a day and a half now, steaming hot conditions, and as much as they're more used to it than we are, it still takes its toll. So if England might be thinking to themselves, you know what, we're in such a good position here with only 3 wickets down, 2 batters on over 100. If we can put 150, 200 on that lead, then you never know. Mayhem could ensue. England become the only team that can win it. Pakistan have no chance of being able to win the game. And you can cause a bit of panic, you know, play on a bit of fatigue, play on the fact that they don't know how to win Test matches at the moment, play on the fact that their captain's under pressure and the team itself is under pressure. And all of those things can combine to make mad things happen, even on a flat pitch like this one.
And the album launch go well a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
But you had it
great. Yeah, it was a really great night at the Oval last week, and so just put in a few more dates in the book, and hopefully people are tuning in on Spotify or buying CDs. To those people who still do that sort of thing, they're all available. Always,
it's all very well buying the CD. You've got to have somewhere to play it. Isn't there?
Somewhere to play. Yeah, well, you know,
in the car.
There are some cars. Yeah, anything beyond sort of about 2016, I don't think has a CD player in the car anymore. But there are plenty of people who still like to have the physical thing in their hand. And so that's all good. But thanks for asking.
No worries. Good to talk to you, Butch. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Butch.
Cheers.
Mark Butcher's album, Always Somewhere, is available now to download wherever you get your music these days and how you get your music. And yet, congratulations to Joe Root. That is some record. I remember David English telling us all these stories of what they get up to on these the Bunbury Youth Cricket Festival, and I think it was Ben Stokes who was putting hot sauce into Joe Root's Coca-Cola.
Oh, lovely. Oh, I love
that's as controversial as it ever got at the dinner table when they went to Nando's.
The England cricketers' origin stories.
Yeah.
Like, see them as little lads, like Muppet babies.
Yeah, 14, 15-year-olds. But David used to do that all the time. He was the kind of godfather of that event, God bless him. And he'd say, I've seen this kid, remember this lad, he just remember the names of all these great young players. Anyway.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.